Alright, let's get started. Now, what I want to show you here is something you can use for leveling. It's not a cookie cutter spec, you won't find it on the internet, but it's pretty good to just start leveling from 1 to 70. So we're gonna assume that the gear is irrelevant, but you will like to reach torment 6, torment 10 and greater wrists, and you would like to use the new Raekor set that is being granted on the season 10. So the main aspect of the build will be Furious Charge, but until you get this set you can pretty much until level 70 go with something like this. Primary skills: cleave with ripping swing. Why? You're gonna need fury. Until your max level you're gonna be fury starved, so go with this. At max level, when you get the set, you can use the weapon throw with extra fury per attack, but you won't necessarily need it. You will be using it mostly for focus and restraint procs to keep your damage up. The second is whirlwind with volcanic eruption if you can, if not with tornadoes when you're low level. Why? Well, you're gonna need a lot of mobility and you're gonna need a lot of AoE, so this is my favorite pick for the secondary skills. Defensive, ground stomp with the wrenching smash rune. Get everything from a large radius underneath your feet, stomp them, and I'm gonna show you a really nice legendary for this in a moment to couple with the skill. But you're gonna need stuns, you're gonna need some CCs. This is a perfect example, and you have it from low level. Furious Charge. Now this is the main signature build. I would personally go for Dreadnought, so you can have 3 charges, and once you have the set, this will be irrelevant, but I'm picking this because I had the lightning damage bonuses from my gear. Next up, tactics. Battle Rage. Of course, you're gonna have a lot of mobs near you. You would like to have a lot of critical hit chance because you won't be getting it from gear. Let's face it, you'll suck. You'll have blue gear or yellow gear, maybe a few legendaries while leveling. I highly suggest this because you're gonna need the extra crit chance. Most likely it won't drop on your gear. And something to stomp elites while you're low level: Call of the Ancients. With the extra damage, these bad boys will not die like at all, and they will just stomp everything in your path. For passives, Ruthless. Deal additional damage to enemies below 30% health. Unforgiving. Well, this you're gonna have to pick later, because I think it's a level 55 skill or something like that, but it's the main thing you should have just so you can always be at maximum fury. Animosity, of course, even more fury generation and max fury. You could dump it or you can keep it. We'll talk about that later. And of course, Brawler. As long as there's enemies around you, your damage is increased. So basically this means you will be dealing a ton of damage. You will be highly mobile with Furious Charge, Whirlwind. You have some CCs with Ground Stomp. You also have a primary that can either be ranged or can be the Fury Generation one, which is this. I personally leveled until 45 with Ripping Swing and Cleave, and you'll be mostly fine with it. So yeah, let's go and show you. Once you're level 70, of course, you'll do the season challenges and you'll start getting Raekors, and Raekors. 6 pieces. What this will do: activate all the runes on this little bad boy. So, a little short introduction. What is Furious Charge and why should you use it? The first description: rush forward, knocking back and dealing 600 weapon damage to enemies along your path, and when the charge ends. So basically, yeah, this whole line got a shit ton of damage. All the runes are active when you're getting the 6th piece, so the damage bonus is increased to 1050%. Recharge time is reduced by 2 seconds for each enemy hit. So basically what we want to do is hit as many enemies as possible, so you can just spam this skill like a maniac. You will also generate a lot of fury, so you won't be fury starved. This is good, so you can use some skills to dump it. And Cold Rush, everything you hit is frozen, stunned. Very good coupled with Ground Stomp to like have 6-7 seconds of stun mobs. And of course the 3 charge rune. Now some people like to use, instead of Whirlwind, Ancient Spear with this Boulder Toss. What this will do is basically expend all of your fury to deal an incredible amount of damage, coupled with a few items that have Ancient Spear and weapon throw increase damage properties like special powers. I recommend not using it until you have a basic build going on and you're getting the required items to make it work. Until then, I would really keep Whirlwind just so you can have an incredible amount of mobility and a lot of AoE. Basically, you won't be suffering from single target damage lacking, and I'll show you why. Here's a few really good items that are paired with this particular setup of skills. Dread Iron, every time you ground stomp, you cause an avalanche. This is a great AoE skill because this item also increases avalanche damage by 172%. Awesome. Next up, this is one of the lamer rings I have, but the haunt it does is really good for single target damage dealing. Weapon, unfortunately, nothing too valuable. The cube, now this is the very interesting part. Weapon, Furnace, increase damage against elites by 50%. Vile Ward, this is kind of a requirement for the Furious Charge build from my perspective. It increases the Furious Charge damage by 35% for each enemy hit while charging. So until you reach the destination, each enemy hit increases the damage, the total damage this skill is doing by 35%, which is insane. And to solve your problem with toughness, so you can do higher difficulties, I would just pick Band of Might for starters. Of course, you can replace this with like Ring of Royal Grandeur and reduce the number of required set items to 5 and just mash up another set with it, like Immortal Kings. But for starters, this, every time you Furious Charge or Ground Stomp, it makes you take 60% reduced damage, any type of damage, so physical, magical, everything like that. A Barbarian usually has a lot of armor, so 80% damage reduction physical. The suckish part is basically this, the magic damage. So 60% damage reduced from here, along with Esoteric Alteration Gem, if you level it up, so it adds non-physical damage reduction as well, should make you a really survival tankish build, even if you're spec'd like a glass cannon, which is my case right here. A few comments about the set once you get it. So the 2-piece bonus. Furious Charge refunds a charge if it hits only one enemy. This will make you be able to finish like Torment 1 on Torment 2 easily with this bonus. So you can just spam, you hit only one enemy, spam again, hit an enemy, and just continuously charge, and everything will just die if they're spread out. If they're close together, just whirlwind them away. You won't be needing something like Seismic Slam or Ancient Spear to dump all the fury, just mash them away like potatoes, and everything will basically melt in front of you. The fourth set bonus is the actually most important one, which means you get access to every rune and you deal 300% increased damage. So basically you can spam Furious Charge because you have 3 charges, and you also recharge time is reduced by 2 seconds. So as long as you're hitting a very high density population of mobs, you will basically be able to spam this 24/7. Now, this will help you clear Torment 4 easily, maybe even 5 if you have the required survivability, and finish up your progress for the 6th piece, or just buy it from Kadala. In my case, the chest and the pants, I got them from Kadala at Paragon level 20 or 30, pretty lucky. What this will do is even more astonishing. Basically, increase the damage of your next Fury spending attack by 750%. And it stacks indefinitely. But every time you use a skill that consumes Fury, you will lose 5 charges. So you see here, I have a Furious Charge stack. Now, if I Furious Charge again, I get 2 stacks, and again, and again.
Impossible.
And since I haven't hit any mobs, I have to wait for the recharge time, and again. Now I have 5 charges. I can continue charging through enemies and generating these stacks. And every time I will use Ground Stomp or Whirlwind, for instance, I will consume a maximum of 5 charges here, dealing 5 times 750% extra damage. Now, this is why I was telling you some people like to tailor their build and have a Fury Spender, a very powerful Fury Spender as their secondary, and just build up the charges and then do something like, I don't know, Ancient Spear with Boulder Toss, and then just consume all the Fury and 5 stacks and deal an incredible amount of damage. But since you won't be having items that increase Ancient Spear damage and will most likely want a heck a lot of AoE and movement, I would just go with this baby and just mash it everything together. Very important aspect about Whirlwind is that only the first tick of damage, or like the first 2 seconds of the cast, you see here, once the Fury drops down, that period of time is the equivalent of 5 charges consumed. So this, and now it stopped. So basically you have like 1 or 2 seconds of extra damage per 5 charges you have stocked up right here. For Paragon points, I'd go with movement speed. Of course, you want to move a lot. Critical hit damage, because you won't be getting that from gear, and resist all. Why? Because you have enough armor, you should have enough life. Something between 500 and 1 million should be more than enough as a start. And toughness, you will basically, I think, start out at 2 million at fresh 70, 5 million for Torment 4, 10 million for Torment 6 and above. And once you get something like Krelm's set with bracers and belt, or you get Band of Might, you don't even need Krelm's anymore. You can just make sure every 8 seconds you Furious Charge, and you see here, this is the buff from the ring, and my toughness just went up through the roof. This is the toughness I had on my Demon Hunter that was clearing Torment 10 with one-shots. And it also kind of got one-shotted as well if mobs hit him, but that's not the point. Gems, legendary gems. What would I recommend since you're starting up? Bane of the Powerful to level 25. You'll be squishy at first, at least until you get that ring, and maybe some ancients. So 5% increased damage to elites. That's awesome at rank 25 and for 55 seconds. But actually, what's really important here is take 15% reduced damage from elites, especially on Torment 6. If you will be doing greater risks to gear up and level up your gems, they modified in the latest patch, so greater risks have a higher chance to spawn a large density of mobs. So basically that means the maps will be mostly open area, and you will encounter a lot of elites, so you will need this reduction, especially since without esoteric alteration you will have a very low survivability to magical damage. The second gem, I already told you, is the esoteric alteration. This is a must-have, and it's one of the best gems you can possibly have to mitigate damage, and you're gonna need that. The furious charge spamming coupled with ground stomping and then more furious charge and maybe a whirlwind is enough to decimate Torment 6, Torment 7 mobs if done properly. Your main problem will be, for starters, the toughness, the survivability, especially if you're doing solo grinding greater risks. The third gem, Mirian. Well, this is an odd choice, you'd say, but this little gem was recently buffed and tweaked a little bit. So 15% chance to smite for a lot of weapon damage. A lot. This will help single target damage tenfold. And it also has a heal. If you get this bad boy to level 25, you'll be smiting a nearby enemy every 3 seconds. And if I'm not mistaken, the weapon damage modifier at rank 25 will be something like 5,000 or 6,000 or something like that. So it will be pretty good if you take your time to level it up. My jewelry is nothing to be proud of. Like stats, this one sucks. This one is decent: strength, all resist, and critical hit chance. And of course, you need the sockets on these bad boys so you can use the gems. So this is basically it as an introduction. You would want up until your Paragon level 107 to get everything up and running. The specific legendaries that you get should be these 3, so you can have a really easy transition, let's say, to Torment 6, so you will be pretty comfortable. And once you reach these stats, so basically something like 500,000 damage, 10 million toughness, you're pretty much set up with this setup to start grinding like a madman. And now the rest of the stream will just be gameplay footage. I'll do maybe public, maybe co-op with someone else, I don't know. Would be also solo at one point to show you exactly how to use this furious charge, the stacks and the skills in order to deliver maximum damage, while also having, of course, good mobility, pretty decent self-healing, but not something that is, I don't know, noteworthy. We could, for instance, give up on increased fury generation and go with the one that heals you every time you expend fury. Something like Bloodthirst. Yeah, each point of fury heals you, and the heal amount is increased by health globe healing bonus. So you can use either that or, well, actually, now that fury is out of the way, and since you're using whirlwind, and not dumping all that fury, you can use Berserker Rage. Deal 25% additional damage while your maximum fury. So that's a lot. Now, you won't have problems because of the charges. They will generate a lot of fury. So that should cover it. Yeah. Should be fine. Okay. So sit back and enjoy some greater wrists and normal wrists. And maybe some bounties, but I'm not really sure.
I've got some brand new goods you might be interested in. And enough of those. That creature must die.
Now, as you can see, if you are near maximum charges and have a lot of them, stack up something like 10, 15, 20, maybe even more, you can one-shot an elite pack, basically, and just decimate it. Let me show you. So, let's stack up some charges. We have 7 so far. As you can see, you don't even need to use any other skills. You can just clear the map using Furious Charge. If you really want. 20 stacks. Very important, if you notice. Okay, now ground stomp and whirlwind. Too bad they were not stacked, but you saw I kind of melted the big guys, the first 2 big guys, a lot. Now about the Furious Charge, you can notice sometimes I'm charging a very large distance, sometimes I'm charging a very small distance. This is something you can control, and it's basically done by controlling the mouse. If you're close, so if your mouse is here, like close to your character, you can only charge up until your mouse cursor. So if you want to charge across the whole freaking map, just put the mouse at the edge of the screen and go wild. Have fun. Okay, now let's try the... There we go. See? Melted, one-shotted. Just make sure you always have enough charges ready to deliver this kind of amount of damage. Now you might be asking, what's keeping me from playing on even a higher torment than 6? Well, to be fair, the damage. To reach torment 10 and basically have no stress at all clearing this rift, you would need to pair up this little focus with a restraint. And since I'm not really much of a lucky person on rings, there we go, look at this. So what you just saw is that ground stomp basically did most of the damage because of the furious charges, and of course the furious charges. I managed to squeeze in a little bit of them. Wow, this map. Now, why that fat dude died is because, well, the haunt from the ring. Very good to pick up stranded enemies by itself. Okay, so now we're talking. Even more mobs, more mobs, more mobs, and just spring cleaning in the cathedral. Ah, look at this. Well, I kind of one-shotted him with the charge. Charge, 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 whirlwind. And he's going down. Okay, and a little ground stomp, and just finish it up. So, you can also enjoy pretty decent single target damage just by spamming some charges on a single target and then ground stomp and whirlwind him away. Now I want more survivability, so I'm gonna go with this. If you think you have enough damage or enough survivability and want to go even more damage than this, you can use, instead of Mirinai Teardrop, you can easily go with Bane of the Trapped. Level it up to 25 and you'll have a permanent slow around you and everybody will take just incredible amount of damage. Also keep in mind that the Furious Charge, because of the Cold Rush rune, also will apply this frozen slowed effect on mobs, so you will benefit from the Bane of the Trapped gem just by charging into enemies like a madman. So there's that. Now let's go back to, I want even more fury back. Okay. And now let's just close this.
I grow in power.
Okay. So this was a really short introduction on the build. You will be able to hopefully get accommodated to it, and start gearing up, getting even more items. Let's see what we got. Girdle of Giants, Seismic Slam and Earthquake. Seismic Slam increases the earthquake damage. This is pretty nice for a different build. And wow, okay. Conversion of the elements. Strength, vitality, critical hit chance, physical resistance instead of armor. I'll be giving up fire resistance, but who needs fire resistance anyway? Am I right? Oh crap. Okay. Because this 155% increased damage is too good to throw away, what I actually want is to use it at the moment until we're gonna get a restraint, or basically a good restraint. So we'll give up on the taunt and that armor and that fire resistance in exchange for physical resistance and critical hit chance. Even more critical hit chance. Crit chance is good. Critical hit damage is even better, but crit chance is good too. Let's see, remove gem, boink, boink. Let's go conversion. Oh, conversion of the elements, how I missed you. We'll save the belt for later. You might not never know when you can use it. Okay. And maybe even this. And the rest is junk, of course. I'm not even gonna try to check it out. Great! So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.